Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, a broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and Houston First Financial Group are not affiliated.
Don't be scared. Embrace. So don't get left behind. It's happening. It's absolutely 100% going to drive business in the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years. It's all heading that way. We all know that. We all understand that. Don't be reluctant. Don't be one of these people that didn't get a website for 15 years and got left behind, or didn't join social media until 10 years later. Do it now.
Good afternoon, everybody. You're listening to Money Matters. I'm Chris Hensley. We have a fantastic show lined up for you today. I've got with us today Mark Anderson and Junior Asher, both from the company Ascend AI Solutions. And usually I'll give a big intro here, but I think what I'll do for the intro is kind of share, how we met. Both Junior and Mark are part of a group that I'm on in Facebook called ChatGPT for AI for financial advisors, right? So that's how we initially met each other. And this was, I think, right when that group kind of got started there. And so I know you guys, we've been kind of working together for it's going to several months now, right? Kind of diving into AI and seeing that move really quick. But for listeners who are just now getting to know you, I'm going to share your bio with them so they can get more familiar with you. Now, Mark is the co-founder of Ascend AI Solutions and as the visionary behind Social Manager, a service dedicated to elevating digital marketing for small and medium-sized enterprises with a rich background spanning banking, finance, business-to-business, executive sales. Junior brings in 9 years of specialized experience in financial planning and taxation to Ascend AI Solutions, holding a bachelor's degree in accounting with a major in financial planning and taxation. So, gentlemen, welcome both to the show here.
Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Chris. Awesome to be here.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so just with that, with your bios there, I think listeners can see why we have you on the show here, because there's some financial planning there and there's some AI there, right? So a little bit of best of both worlds. We do have a good bit of listeners. It's kind of a mix between, just your normal individual people who are interested in retirement and investment planning. And we have a good bit of financial advisors who listen to the show as well. And so I think they will probably be interested in a lot of the same things that I have. So let's just start out with what is Ascend AI Solutions. And can you share with us kind of the story behind the founding of this company?
Junior.
Yeah, excellent. I might hop in here. Yeah. So first of all, thanks, Chris. It's been lovely getting to know you, and thank you for having us on this podcast. It's really great to be here. So firstly, Ascend AI Solutions. So we were founded sort of early 2023, following the release of ChatGPT, sort of in late November 22. So as you and your listeners are quite aware, with ChatGPT, it's like the floodgates were open in terms of AI and what is possible. And I still believe to this day we're only at the tip of the iceberg in terms of what's possible and what we can achieve. And so essentially, Mark and I, we teamed up, and we also have a team of developers as well that work under us. But we're sort of the head of the agency here. But we could see off the bat a huge opportunity in terms of what AI can do to automate processes within a business, to help streamline things, really just to make life easier. And so I currently work in financial advice as well still, and I still sort of I've always been that person that's always, call it a bit lazy, but I'm always looking for ways to make things a bit easier. So when ChatGPT came out, I was straight away one of the first people to start, using it to help with my emails, using it to, help me rewrite things, and all the things that we do with ChatGPT now, and that's sort of come a bit more popular. But yeah, essentially we teamed up. We're a B2B agency, so we help businesses implement and manage AI solutions, and basically to help them save time and money. And um, in terms of the solutions that we offer, because we're sort of in a new sort of territory at the moment, we are sort of discovering things as we go. So the way that we sort of work with businesses, and how we've worked with you there, Chris, is we've sort of let people come to us, um, and sort of let us know, what are the pain points that you're sort of going through at the moment? What sort of things do you feel is really sort of irking you, and really making life difficult for you, and let's see if there's a way that we can automate that process or make life easier. So we look at ourselves as sort of the experts in the AI side, um, and so you're the expert in your business. So that combined sort of knowledge can really help us to do great things. So that's a little bit about myself, and also about Ascend AI Solutions. And yeah, Mark, did you have anything to add there?
Oh, look, I can. G'day, everybody. I'm Mark. So yeah, thanks for having us on. I can give you a little bit of background on myself, I guess. So within the company of Ascend AI Solutions, Junior is more at the forefront of the business. He's the one that talks to customers mainly, etc., etc. I'm more of a tech head, so on the on the older, wiser, more more technical guy.
I'm the good
Love
looking
it.
one.
Correct.
Love it.
So
Love it.
I basically I basically run the business as far as all the software and our automations go, and also I deal with project management. So I deal with the developers, and of course, as you know, Chris, I've dealt with you with the things that we've implemented for you. Um, my background did start in banking, so I'm a finance guy as well. I've had about 12 years in the finance industry. Then I moved on to websites. So I did websites for quite a number of years. I had a website agency, which was here in Australia, which was bought out by a larger agency a number of years ago. Then I worked as a manager in a digital marketing agency. So I had about a team of about 15 staff under me. And they did everything from Google ads, Facebook ads, SEO, websites, directory listings, all that kind of thing. So I've got a fairly good, solid background in marketing and how to get yourself out there, and what you need to do to attract clients. So I mean, obviously the number one problem that we still come across with businesses is client acquisition. Like everybody everybody needs to attract clients. So that's probably a good percentage of the solutions that we implement would be on the client attraction side, and the other main part that we would do, as Junior was saying, would be just making your life easier.
I love it. I love it. And I'm going to, share this with listeners because I can actually talk about this because we've been working together on this. And so kind of the process as we were looking for things to automate in my practice, you guys gave an audit where you went in and were asking me all of these things about my practice. So I know other advisors who are big fans of systemization and automation, their ears are going to perk with this. But, what's interesting is you guys have that financial advisor background, but you're in Australia, right? So part of the nut that we have to crack here is like, how does that work in different countries and all of that stuff. So it's been a very interesting process as we've kind of you fleshed it out, and you guys were working with me and helping me on that. Let's pivot a little bit and talk about something that Mark just mentioned, and that's digital marketing. Client acquisition was one of the things that you just mentioned that most business owners, you got to be able to get the clients to come in. In your experience, how has AI transformed the digital marketing landscape, especially for professional services like accountancy, law, and financial services as well?
Yeah, I might start with that one. So, look, basically, it's it's taken the ability to make your life easy. So, for example, take doing content for social media posts. Now, I wouldn't recommend just using ChatGPT to write all your content and all your posts. That's not what I'm getting at. But it can streamline it and it can give you ideas. So a typical business owner might sit there, or typical financial planner might sit there and go, oh, you know, I've run out of ideas. What do I post on my social media? What's engaging? So you can actually use the AI technology to as a discovery tool, and it will also, to the extent that you can plan out, your next 30 days, your next 60 days, different subjects, give ideas for the actual content itself. So it's basically a guide. It's like having an extra employee sitting there helping you along your way.
I love it. I love it. Uh, Junior, as you guys have rolled this out, what roadblocks have come up in the process?
Yeah, so you mentioned earlier that we do the AI audit, and as I said, we're sort of discovering new territory as we sort of go along. So we're sort of learning as we go. And in the audit, what I've sort of found is we'll do an audit and we basically are hit with a huge chunk of information, a huge chunk of different processes and different things. And so it's almost like we look at an audit and we're like, oh my gosh, okay, where do we start? Where, like, which of all these? And so what we're finding is that it's kind of better to sort of take a step back, have a look at the audit, but then go back and just see, okay, let's just start with one thing at a time and let's just see what is the most valuable sort of process to automate for yourself. So where can we start that's going to save you the most time, the most cost, and maybe something that you'll use every day because we could easily create an AI web chatbot for you on your website, but how often are you going to use that? For some people it may be a lot, for others it may not be. So I think yeah, one of the things that we've discovered as we've gone through the process is that just starting on one thing at a time. So you might look at your business and you might think, geez, where do we even start? Um, you know, the good thing about the audit is we can sort of pick apart all the pieces, but there's sort of no rush to sort of start automating everything at once. The great thing about it is that we can just look at one thing at a time and just start there. And then we sort of start with one thing and then move on to the next thing if there's more, and then we just build on that. So yeah, I think one of the roadblocks has sort of been like trying to understand what is actually valuable to businesses and what is actually gonna actually save that time and money. And um, yeah, because we could automate a lot of things, but what's actually important. So
I
yeah,
love it. I love it. And I know when I have my financial advisor hat on, right? A lot of times
yeah,
you're in the weeds when you're in the business. So having, it's just like when we do a financial plan with a client, that process of doing the audit was very valuable and useful to me. Even the process
mm,
of just getting the information together, it's like, oh, wait, we do all that stuff, right? Like
yeah,
putting it down and writing it and seeing it. So having, a second set of eyes to go in and say, what's the most important thing. And I like that you mentioned really just focusing on one thing to start. I think a lot of times people see it as this
yeah,
big, hefty weight that they got to
yeah,
do everything at once. So my personal
and
experience, even that process was fantastic.
yeah, I was going to also say as well, and like it's such a evolving and changing environment, the AI world. So what we're discovering is what may not be possible now, in the next couple of months may be possible. So it's sort of an ever evolving change. You can see updates with OpenAI and all the things they roll out regularly. Our developers are able to sort of run with these changes and come up with new things and new ideas. And so it's yeah, I wouldn't say completely close your mind off to AI if you feel like there's a certain process that you can't automate. It might be a case of just wait and see, because things are ever evolving. Some of the statistics, they say that AI, is gonna, I can't remember the exact figure, but it's a big figure in terms of the revenue that AI will be used, businesses will use to generate revenue in the future. So it's exciting stuff.
It sure is, and it's moving so fast. That's a perfect setup for my next question here. What are some of the most innovative AI technologies Ascend AI Solutions is currently working on?
Without giving too much personal information away
Right,
about our
right.
clients, we have a very complex situation, not in the US, but in another country, where we're coming up with a solution for customers of many different countries to minimize their taxation requirements. And it's basically, instead of having to constantly refer to, like, look up and constantly refer to each situation's tax rules and compliance and regulation, it will basically do it all for them, and check that it's all compliant, check that it follows the regulations, check that it's compliant with the tax laws, etc., etc. So, estimating to save at least 20 hours a week.
Wow, that's
That,
huge.
that,
That's huge.
yeah.
As a
I was also
business
going to
owner, go ahead, Junior. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just also going to touch on it as well. So GPTs, some of you listeners might know about GPTs. Um, there's a big opportunity in terms of GPTs, and so we're also working on some solutions around GPTs for different businesses. So you think of a GPT as essentially it's an agent. So it's essentially an AI agent or an AI employee of yours that you can train on a specific topic, a specific knowledge base. And obviously, the more powerful the knowledge, the more powerful the agent will be. But the great thing about GPTs is that they're able to be you're able to build in functionalities as well. So it's not just like the traditional GPT where you ask a question and it gives you an output. But now with GPTs, you're able to have things called like plugins where you're able to not only ask a question, but it can also then do things. So book appointments, send an email. So these are sort of things that we're discovering with GPTs. And then also we have the ability at the moment. I think most people are only aware that GPTs just sit on the OpenAI store, but there are ways where you can essentially uh, jailbreak the GPT and use it on your website, or you basically connect it to your website. So that's what our developers sort of specialize in as well. But there's yeah, at the moment there's a big opportunity in GPTs, and what Mark was just saying as well. GPTs we'll use there as well. So.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I've been using GPTs a lot now, and since we have the enterprise edition, I'm having my assistant will use the same one, and now they've allowed you to do the @ sign where you can bring multiple ones into a
Yeah.
conversation. So it's just crazy how fast that stuff is moving. Um, So and Mark, one of the things you just mentioned was some of the when you're one of the success stories is that you're working with these companies that are international. As a financial advisor, when I hear things like compliance, and you guys are speaking my language, right? Because
Yeah.
some of the guardrails. There are companies out there that will help with marketing and help with AI, but if they're not necessarily plugged into the industry, they don't realize we've got the SEC, we've got compliance. So there's things we got to do to make it work. So I love that you mentioned that, because those are big problems, right? Taxation, but also when you're working with multiple companies, that's a lot of ducks you got to get in a row, right? Um,
Hmm.
we don't we're bumping towards the end of the show. We've got about 6 minutes left. So I'd like to ask you, for businesses that are hesitant about adopting AI, what would you say to convince them of its benefits?
Look, I would say that if you're a financial planner or in the financial world, and you are hesitant about taking the step, as Junior said before, don't look at it as this massive big chunk of changes to your business that you have to implement in the next month. Okay, so like Junior said, pick one thing and run with it and implement that first thing, and see the benefits that it brings, see the productivity increases that you have. What was the second part of the question, Chris?
Uh, what would you say to convince them of its benefits?
Oh, of its benefits. Okay, so you could look at it in the reverse way, as in what's going to happen to your practice if you don't. Is the way
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's a
would.
Yeah.
good way to.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know if you're competing with other advisors out there, and you're a small company, this is a leverage point for you. So,
Mm.
I totally agree. Get on board. Like, um, good,
Yeah.
good.
If I just
Junior,
might
go
add
ahead.
there, sorry. Yeah, yeah. So, look, it's we've actually developed a GPT. Look, a bit of a shameless plug here, but essentially we've created a GPT that any business owner can log into, and you simply type the name of your business or your industry, and the GPT we've designed will then give you a whole bunch of ideas and solutions that you might be able to implement in your business. I've also made the GPT so that it will provide you with links to types of websites or platforms that you can start to use, tools that you can start to use straight away. So um, yeah, so yeah, it's we just start with one little thing. We just start one thing at a time. Don't worry about massive change like what Mark was saying. We can just start with there. But yeah, I think just getting to know what is possible, having an idea of what might be possible might be a good place to start. And so you can use our GPT to find out our information, or you can even just go into a chat GPT as well. But the way we've designed our GPT is sort of it's more tailored to any business owner. So yeah, it's free to use. So
I
it's there
love
for
it.
them.
How would somebody who's interested in finding out about that get in touch with you guys?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a website. So ascendaisolutions.com.au is our website. You can also type in Ascend AI Solutions on the GPT store, and I'm sure you'll see our GPT there. At the moment, we do have socials, so Facebook and Instagram as well. Ascend AI Solutions is that. Um, but probably the best place is on our website because there's a function to book a call with us and contact us directly. Would you say that's right, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. Website number one. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, if you're driving and you're listening to this, don't pull the car over, because it's going to be in the podcast notes as well. So we'll point you there. We'll give you the links to get to it. And as Junior mentioned, you could just type it into the ChatGPT store. So if you're a user, it'll come up and you'll be able to use it there. We're bumping right here towards the end of the show, guys. What have I forgot to ask you that you'd like to share with listeners?
Look, I would just say, and it's more related to the last question. don't be scared. Embrace. So don't get left behind. It's happening. It's absolutely 100% going to drive business in the next 1, 2, 3, 5 years. It's all heading that way. We all know that. We all understand that. Don't be reluctant. Don't be one of these people that didn't get a website for 15 years and got left behind, or didn't join social media until 10 years later. Do it now.
I love it. I love it. Mark, I'm laughing because I remember people like, I'm not going to do email, or I'm not going to get on the internet. I'm like, all right, well, where'd that get you? So, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. We're right here at the end. Have a great evening there.
All right.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it,
so
Chris.
much. Thanks, Chris.